Hello everyone, I hope this message finds you fit and fine. My name is Shashank Tyagi. Welcome to Lakshmikant series Indian Polity Contests. We are discussing Parliament, and within that, today we need to talk about leaders in Parliament. Means leader of House in Lok Sabha, leader of House in Rajya Sabha. Then we are going to talk about session part as well. Under the rules of Lok Sabha, Prime Minister is the leader of House in case Prime Minister is member of Lok Sabha. For example, Modi ji. So he is member of Parliament, member of Lok Sabha, right, from Varanasi. So that is why he is leader of House in Lok Sabha. But in case of Manmohan Singh ji, so he was member of Rajya Sabha, but he was Prime Minister of India because majority of the members in Lok Sabha supported his name for the Prime Minister position. So in that case, how we are going to decide who is going to be leader of House in Lok Sabha if Prime Minister is not member of Lok Sabha? In that case, Prime Minister can nominate a minister to be leader of House in Lok Sabha. Okay, this is what is mentioned here. Just two cases, right? Not a big deal. Clear? So it means leader of House in Lok Sabha position can be held by Prime Minister or minister. Okay, if Prime Minister is there, then there cannot be any minister who can proclaim himself. Prime Minister cannot nominate anyone else. Right? If Prime Minister is already present, already a member of Lok Sabha. Okay? Now, leader of House in Rajya Sabha, he is a minister in case Prime Minister is member of Lok Sabha. Or in that case, if, for example, Manmohan Singh ji, he was member of Rajya Sabha, right? In that case, he is regarded as, you can say, leader of House in Rajya Sabha. Okay? So you can simply remember this trick. Wherever Prime Minister is having membership, Prime Minister is going to be considered as a leader of that house. And who is going to be leader of other house? Prime Minister is going to decide. Clear? Leader of the opposition. So leader of opposition, the word itself represents opposition. But who is going to have this position? For that, the party should have at least 1/10 seats of the total strength. Okay, in general, you should have 1/10 seat. And you are, you can say, having maximum seat among other parties who are not part of government. Okay, so this position is also considered important for democracy. And you should know that leader of opposition is also given a, you can say, status of cabinet minister. Means leader of opposition is given a dedicated office, staff, you can say bungalow and car, etc. Such is the importance of leader of opposition. His main function is to provide constructive criticism. Therefore, opposition in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha were accorded statutory recognition. Please remember, leader of opposition is not a constitutional position. Okay, it is given a statutory recognition by the Parliament itself. Clear? So there can be a scope of question here. Clear? Whip, next character in our story. So whip is a, what do you understand by this word whip? What comes into your mind? I think some of you might be thinking of hunter. Why hunter is used? Hunter is used to, to get those, you can say, herd in the line, right? So that is the purpose of whip. Every political party in the house actually gives status of whip to any one member. So he is responsible to actually ensure discipline among party members. And what kind of discipline we are talking about? First, attendance. You should be present. If you are not present, then you should communicate it, right? Then securing votes. For example, we are presenting a bill and we need necessary votes in the house, then only this proposal is going to float. For that, whip is responsible. Whip is actually communicate to every member of the political party, we are presenting this bill on such date and I want that all of you should actually vote in support. What if they actually reject? No, I'm not going to listen to you. My friends, the decision of whip is actually will of party, and party gave you the ticket, right? Disciplinary action can be leveled against you. And some of you might be thinking, what kind of disciplinary action? What you are going to do? Whip, if you disobey whip, even your membership can be taken away. Means if you read anti-defection law, there's a provision that if party thinks that you are working against the interest of that party, right, then in that case also you can be disqualified. Okay, you should read about the case of Mr. Sharad Yadav and Anwar Ali from JDU party. They were Rajya Sabha members and they were not listening to the party advisors and they were disqualified. So whip need to not to be taken lightly. Okay, disciplinary action can be taken. I hope it is clear. Regulates, monitors, clear. And I specifically told you, whip position is not given by speaker or Rajya Sabha chairman. Okay, whip position is given by party itself, right? So that their members can be monitored and regulated. Okay, it is not mentioned in constitution. It is just a convention. Please remember, there can be a scope of question here. I hope you will remember it. That is why I was saying party is actually deciding. Now, sessions of parliament. Session, we are talking about the period within which parliament is going to work, right? Parliament is going to function. So, president from time to time summons each house of parliament. Who summons? Summons means we are calling that now you, from this date, this time, you have to start working. Come to Delhi, right? And president do that on the advice of Council of Ministers. But the maximum gap between two sessions, our constitution says maximum gap can be 6 months. Our constitution does not tell about how many sessions you can have per year. Okay, it just tells that should not have gap more than 6 months. It means minimum you should have at least 2 sessions per year, and maximum there's no limit to the maximum. And why there's no limit to the maximum? Because parliament is there to actually discuss the important matters, to make law. It may be possible that within a year there are 10 times urgency happened. You need new laws. You need 10 sessions. So parliament should be allowed to have 10 sessions, right? In general, we have 3 sessions: budget session, monsoon session, and winter session. Please remember, these names are not written in our constitution. It's not like winter is coming and now you should have winter session. No, no such mention is there. Constitution mentions just this. This is constitution and this is convention. Please remember the difference. UPSC play on these words. Okay. A session of parliament is the period spanning between first sitting of the house and the prorogation. Prorogation means ending of the session. Let's understand these words through this schematic. This is the date where session is summoned by president. So president summons. Okay, and whose advice? Council of Ministers advice. Now you can see heartbeat. Tuck, 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 tuck. Finally, session is working. Now prorogation happens. Prorogation means ending of session. Who is going to do that? Again, president is going to do that. Session ends. Okay. Then there will be gap, say 1 month, 2 months. Then there can be another summon, again by president, and then there can be prorogation. This is how our parliament work. The period between 2 sessions is called recess. Okay. Now what happens in between? Once session is summoned, now onus is on the presiding officer of respective house. For example, in Lok Sabha, now speaker is there to actually function. Agendas of the day need to be decided and they need to be done. Now within that, is there a possibility to give some off holiday? Yes, there can be. For example, take example of Lok Sabha. Consider after working for 5 days. Now Lok Sabha speaker decided, I want to give 1 day off, right? So 1 day off. So this 1 day off will be called adjournment. Adjournment. Okay, and who does that? Presiding officer of house. In Lok Sabha, speaker. In Rajya Sabha chairman. Okay, so within that, what is happening? President is not having any role. Okay, now when the session is about to end, let session is here. At this point of time, presiding officer also actually declares another thing, that is adjournment sine die. Adjournment sine die, the word is die, right? You can remember, oh, it means now function, now the job of the session is done. Now presiding officer, say speaker in this case, has given this indication to Honorable President, sir, my job is done. Adjournment sine die. Now after few hours or after days, president can declare prorogation. It means now session officially ends. clear? I think it is clear now. These words should be clear because sometimes UPSC play on these words, right? So during a session, the House meets every day to transact business. The period spanning between prorogation and reassembly of the new session is recess. I think it is clear to you now. Prorogation and reassembly of new session, this period is known as recess. This is the third point. Clear? Adjournment. Adjournment suspends the work for a specified time. For example, here we said 1 day adjournment is happening. Suspending the work. Adjournment sine die means terminating sitting of the parliament for an indefinite period. I told you in adjournment sine die, speaker is saying, sir, my job is done. That's it. Speaker is not saying, oh, I am going to reconvene the House after 1 day or 2 days. No, that is adjournment. That is why no time limit is mentioned here, because purpose is that job is done. You have to indicate that terminating a sitting of the parliament. Sitting is done. The power of adjournment as well as adjournment sine die lies with the presiding officer. Presiding officer. Okay, clearly told you. He can also call a sitting of the House before the date or the time which has been adjourned, or at any time of the House had been adjourned sine die. For example, you have adjourned the House for 1 day, right? But now speaker found that there are some emergent circumstances and I have to call House back within 2 hours. Then speaker can say, I am cancelling the adjournment, and you have to come again after 2 hours. Then you, being a member of parliament, you cannot say, member of say Lok Sabha, you cannot say, oh sir, how can you change your word? You first promised 1 day off and I have planned my vacation. Then speaker would say, what vacation you have planned in 1 day? Would say, sir, I'm in Delhi, so I have get together. Then speaker would say, nation comes first. Within 2 hours, you should come here. If you're not here, session is not going to wait for you. We are going to continue our proceedings, right? So it means a speaker, presiding officer, can actually call you back even if they have mentioned this adjournment happened and adjournment sine die happened. Okay, but please remember, in case a speaker has declared adjournment sine die, job is done, and prorogation happened, and president was quite fast. President said prorogation. Now speaker cannot call back the session, because now you have to summon the session again, and power of summoning is with president. Clear? I think it is clear to you now. Now, the difference between adjournment and prorogation, it is cakewalk for you now. It only terminates sitting. Adjournment only terminates sitting, right? This is what means speaker can do, or Rajya Sabha chairman can do, presiding officer can do. But prorogation, we terminate the session. And who does that? President. It is done by presiding officer, it is done by president. It does not affect. Now this point is new for you in this particular session. It does not affect the bills or any other business. Please remember, prorogation also does not affect the bills or business. Now you would say, sir, what is the difference then? Difference is below. Just read it. But when it comes to notices which are released, for example, pending notice. So other than those introducing bills, lapse on prorogation. But in this case, the notices do not, you can say, lapse. For example, let me give you an example. Session starts today, right? And after 2 days, session got adjourned for say 5 hours, right? And on the first day, speaker actually issued one notice to you. And after this adjournment, when you came back, you cannot say, sir, speaker, sir, I'm not going to listen to your notice, because notice got lapsed after adjournment. Then speaker would say, just read the rule book of Indian Parliament. Then you should be considered yourself worthy of sitting here. Because in adjournment, notices do not lapse, right? Otherwise, it will be a hassle to actually give you notices again and again. There are so many adjournments happen for 1 hour, 2 hour, and 5 days or 6 days. But when it comes to prorogation, since session ends, now again there will be a summoning. So in this case, notices lapse. When next session is going to happen, then there will be fresh notices to be released for you. Okay, I think it is clear now. Dissolution. What is dissolution? Dissolution means now it is end. Dissolution. Lok Sabha, being a permanent house, is not subjected to dissolution. Dissolution means now no one is member of Lok Sabha. We are going to have fresh election in Lok Sabha. Such thing happened in Lok Sabha, but not in Rajya Sabha, because Rajya Sabha is a permanent house. only the Lok Sabha is subject to dissolution. Please remember it. Unlike a prorogation, dissolution ends very life of the existing house. Because now there will be fresh election, after fresh election there will be new Lok Sabha, new bills, new notices, everything will be new. There are two ways of dissolution. One is normal. For example, 5 years you are having the normal tenure of Lok Sabha. It is done to expiry of tenure, then it will be dissolved. That is normal. And the another is abnormal. Abnormal means in between. Prime Minister can recommend to the Honorable President, sir, I am done with Lok Sabha. I want fresh election. Then President will say, okay, I'm listening to your will, and since you are there for aid and advice of, means Article 74 says that you are there to aid and advise me. I'm going to listen to your advice. I'm dissolving Lok Sabha. There will be fresh elections, like it was done during the Indira Gandhi's time after this national emergency. So there are two ways to dissolution. Now, most important thing for us is what happens after dissolution, right? When the Lok Sabha dissolve all business, including bill, motion, resolution, notice, petition, and so on, pending before it becomes lapse. Please remember it. This is the impact. This is important. Although there is beautiful question coming from this particular part, and I'm going to simplify this for you. There's a cliche kind of question repeated by UPSC often, that what is going to happen with the bill in case Lok Sabha get dissolved, and if the bill is pending in Rajya Sabha, if bill was in Lok Sabha, if bill was with President. So you need not to cram it. Okay, there's always a simple way to actually master things. Now, to be pursued further must be reintroduced in newly constituted Lok Sabha. Simply saying, if everything is lapsed with Lok Sabha, means these bills, and if everything which was pending before Lok Sabha, it means new Lok Sabha, you need to reintroduce these. However, some pending bills and pending assurances. Now, this is important because this is an exception. Because even if the bill was with Lok Sabha, but the bill from Lok Sabha went to this Committee on Government Assurances. So in this case, this bill will be immune from lapsing. Do not lapse. So this is an exception. If bill was not with Lok Sabha, it was with Committee on Government Assurances. So you can easily remember, oh, assurance means now this is giving assurance that it is not going to get lapsed. Okay, you can remember by this trick. Now, position with respect to lapsing of bills. Many students get confused in these cases. Just read them, and then I'm going to simplify them for you. Just read it. I think these are visible over the screen. Some students might be watching through mobile, and those who are not able to read it in a comfortable manner, they can just open their Lakshmikant. The bill pending in the Lok Sabha lapses if Lok Sabha dissolves. Condition is, when Lok Sabha dissolves, what is going to happen? Bill not passed by two houses due to disagreement, and if President has notified the holding of joint sitting before the resolution, bill does not lapse. A bill pending in Rajya Sabha but not passed by Lok Sabha does not lapse. A bill passed by both houses pending before President does not lapse. A bill passed by both houses but returned by the President, reconsideration does not lapse. Now, how you are going to cram these? Let's understand in a simple manner. Consider that our President is having a security network. Means, whichever bill touches Honorable President, that bill is going to get security from lapse, even if Lok Sabha get dissolved. You can remember this. Means whichever bill is going to touch Honorable President is going to be presented before Honorable President, this bill will be secure. And our Lok Sabha, it is having sin, shrap, because it is getting dissolved. So consider a bill starts from Lok Sabha. Okay. Now this bill is in Lok Sabha. This is the first case. And Lok Sabha get dissolved. Now what is going to be the impact on this bill? This bill will lapse. This bill will lapse. I think it is visible to you. This bill will lapse because it was there in Lok Sabha. Now second case. Bill was passed by Lok Sabha, presented before Rajya Sabha, and now Lok Sabha lapsed because all the cases are regard to Lok Sabha lapse. So Lok Sabha lapsed. Now what is going to happen with this bill? This bill will also get lapsed. Why? Because it has already touched Lok Sabha and it has not touched the security of president, right? Now consider third case. If bill was presented in Lok Sabha, it went to Rajya Sabha, it gets passed from Rajya Sabha and reaches Honorable President. Now Honorable President, when a bill touches Honorable President, it gets the security. So what is going to happen with this bill if Lok Sabha lapse? This bill will not lapse. Do not lapse. Okay. Let me put NL. Not lapsed. Clear? This case is clear? Now, okay, let me do it like this. Now, fourth, consider a bill is in Rajya Sabha. Okay, this is Rajya Sabha here, right? And this bill is in Rajya Sabha. It has not moved anywhere. And Lok Sabha lapses. What is going to happen with this bill? This bill will not lapse because it has not touched Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha is the one who is getting dissolved. Lok Sabha is the one who is having sin, right? Now, fifth, a bill introduced in Rajya Sabha, but it, after getting passed from Rajya Sabha, it reaches Lok Sabha. Okay? And Lok Sabha gets dissolved. What is going to happen with this bill? This bill is going to lapse. Why? It has touched Lok Sabha, right? Now, another case, sixth case. Consider a bill was passed. We were talking about Rajya Sabha now. Consider this bill was passed by Rajya Sabha. It was then presented to Lok Sabha. And then from Lok Sabha, it reached to Honorable President. And then Lok Sabha lapses. What is going to happen? This bill will get secure. It will not lapse. It has reached the president status. Means it has reached till president, right? So it is safe and secure. Now seventh case. Consider bill was released by Lok Sabha, means presented in Rajya Sabha, and then any case possible we can try from this trick. And then it is presented before Lok Sabha. But now there is a struggle there. Means what is happening? There is a deadlock condition. Deadlock means no one is agreeing to the provision which was presented by other. And there has been 6 months. 6 months has been passed. Now Honorable President has issued a letter. Honorable President has issued a letter, circular. You can remember from circle. So, and this letter says now you have to have joint sitting. Now what is going to happen if before joint sitting this Lok Sabha lapses? In this case, this bill will remain secure. It means it will not lapse. It will not lapse because through President a letter has reached the status. So President's Ashirwad has reached this bill. Protection has been provided. So in this case, it will not lapse. Okay. So by this trick, I think now you can actually easily remember all the cases here. A bill passed by both houses pending and sent to the president does not lapse. A bill passed by both houses but returned by the president reconsideration does not lapse. This is another case. Because why it is not going to lapse? Because it has already touched Honorable President. Right? So this, I have framed this example just to make things simple for you. Okay? I think it is clear. Now, quorum. What is quorum? I told you in the previous lecture also. Quorum is the minimum strength which is required to get house into function. That is quorum. 1/10 members are required. For example, in case of Lok Sabha, you need 55 members minimum. Then only house can function. If there are 54 members, then speaker would say, go back your home. I'm not going to actually start the session because quorum is not complete. If there is no quorum, then what is going to be done? Adjournment ho jayega, suspension ho jayega. There will be adjournment or suspension. Voting in the house. Majority of cases, simple majority is used. Majority of votes of members present in voting. And specifically there are cases where Constitution mentions a special majority. For example, impeachment, constitutional amendment, right? So these are the two kind of voting methods which are used. Although in one of my previous Lakshmikant series video, I told you the difference between different kind of majorities: special majority, absolute majority, right? A special majority, we have cases, then effective majority, right? The presiding officer of the house does not vote in first instance. Whoever is presiding, that person needs to be neutral, right? And if there is an equality of vote, then you can vote. This is a rule. Language of parliament, Hindi and English are languages of parliament. Although, by getting permission from the presiding officer, any member can actually talk in his/her mother tongue. Now, a question from you. By getting permission from the Honorable President, by presiding officer, consider presiding officer, by getting permission from the presiding officer, a bill can be presented in language other than Hindi and English. It means House can conduct its functioning in other language as well, other than Hindi and English, if permission is given by Honorable Speaker in case of Lok Sabha, Honorable Chairman in case of Rajya Sabha. Now you have to tell me answer to this question in comments. Should I repeat? I'm saying officially Hindi and English are languages to conduct the function, proceedings, all the bills, right? I told you presiding officer can permit a member to address the house in mother tongue. The word is address, means you can speak, right? And the question I framed is that by getting permission from presiding officer, member can present the whole bill in mother tongue, and house can conduct its proceedings after permission from presiding officer, proceedings in a language other than Hindi and English. The statement is true or false, that you have to tell me in comment box. Okay. Rights of ministers and attorney general both have one thing common. They can actually participate in proceedings of any house, means Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. But minister concerned can vote only in the house in which they are member. And attorney general obviously cannot vote, but can be there, can present, right? If asked to speak on certain matter, then attorney general can speak. So this is what is mentioned here. Now, two reasons. For example, consider you are member of Rajya Sabha and you are given the charge of defense ministry by Modi ji. Kripa hai aap par. Now, you are member of Rajya Sabha, but I am member of Lok Sabha and I am in opposition. So I want to ask some question from you. What you have done with the Rafale deal? So you are member of Rajya Sabha. So how can I ensure that you actually give your answer to the whole Lok Sabha? So there is a process to that. Process is, yes, you are a minister. You are allowed to present in both houses. So that means you are going to come to Lok Sabha and answer that question before the house. Okay. But that doesn't mean you are going to participate in any voting, right? So that is the purpose. Lame duck session. Consider elections are done and this ongoing Lok Sabha is conducting its last, you can say, session. It's like farewell. So this farewell session is known as lame duck session. Why? Because there may be many members who could not get re-elected to the house and they are called as lame ducks. Now this attempt this question, I think it is visible. No. Let me zoom in. I think now it must be visible. Let me read it out for you. If a person is elected to both the House of Parliament, he must intimate within 10 days in which house he desired to serve. First statement, you have to tell which statement is correct. 1, 2, both, neither. Member of Parliament may resign his seat by writing to the chairman of Lok Sabha and Speaker of Rajya Sabha. Now tell me which option is correct. Only one, only two, both, neither. Come on. You have 5 seconds to do that. Rapid fire. Answer is 1. Why? Those who are saying, sir, this second statement is correct. So I must say that it is a sin to say that. If someone is thinking that this statement is correct, then this thinking itself is a sinful act. Why? Because chairman of Lok Sabha, a speaker in Rajya Sabha, what is this? Rajya Sabha has chairman and Lok Sabha has speaker. Right? There's a swap happened here. I think it is clear now. So I hope now this topic, this part is clear to you, right? So if you have any doubt whatsoever, you can shoot me a message on shashank.powerbeing. That's my personal Insta handle. And this PDF is going to be uploaded in Shashank Tyagi for You Telegram group. So keep learning, keep growing. See you in the next session.